The alarm screamed through the bridge of the singing wind, and HFY gripped her command chair as another blast shook the hull. Red emergency lights painted everything in blood. Her crew shouted reports, their voices rising with panic. "Shields at 20%, her weapons officer cried out. "Engine 3 is gone," someone else yelled. HFY watched the tactical display with growing horror. 3 Krellian pirate ships circled her merchant vessel like predators. Their weapons tore into her shields again and again. She had no chance. Her ship carried cargo, not weapons. This far from civilized space, no one would come to help. "Send a distress call," she ordered, her voice steady despite her fear. "All frequencies. Everything we have." Her communications officer's hands flew over the controls. "Broadcasting now, Captain. Standard emergency channels, commercial bands, even the old—" Another explosion cut him off. The ship lurched sideways. HFY's stomach dropped as artificial gravity failed for 3 terrifying seconds before the backup systems kicked in. "They're demanding we shut down engines and prepare to be boarded," the communications officer said quietly. HFY closed her eyes. She knew what happened to crews who surrendered to Krellian pirates. The lucky ones died quickly. Far across the void of space, a signal traveled. It crossed the darkness between stars, growing weaker with each light year. The old emergency frequencies had not been monitored by the Galactic Council in over 200 years. No one listened to those channels anymore, no one except a young human who did not know any better. Hyunwoo sat at his station aboard the Taeguk, monitoring the communications array. He was bored, 3 months into humanity's first deep space mission, and they had found nothing but empty space and distant stars. No aliens, no signs of life, just silence. Then his display lit up with an incoming signal. Hyunwoo straightened in his chair, his heart suddenly pounding. The computer was translating the signal, breaking down the alien language into something he could understand. Distress call. Coordinates. Under attack. Please help. "Captain!" Hyunwoo's voice cracked. He cleared his throat and tried again. "Captain Ji-woo, I'm picking up a transmission." Captain Ji-woo appeared at his shoulder so quickly that Hyunwoo jumped. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and graying hair pulled back in a tight bun. Those eyes scanned his display, and Hyunwoo watched them grow wide. "Is this real?" she asked quietly. "Yes, ma'am. The computer has been analyzing it for the last 30 seconds. It's definitely artificial, definitely a distress call, and definitely not human." The bridge went silent. Every crew member turned to look. They all knew what this meant. Humanity was not alone in the universe. "Where?" Ji-woo asked. 3 light years. The signal is weak, but I can give you exact coordinates." Ji-woo did not hesitate. "Tae-min, how fast can you get us there?" The chief engineer looked up from his station. He was a burly man with permanently grease-stained hands. "With the experimental drive? 20 minutes if I push it. But, Captain, we don't know what we're jumping into." "Someone is calling for help," Ji-woo said simply. "We answer. All hands, battle stations. Prepare for FTL jump." The Taeguk came alive with activity. Crew members ran to their positions. Weapons that had never been fired outside of testing powered up. Shields activated. Tae-min worked his console, plotting the jump with steady hands despite his obvious excitement. "Jump in 10 seconds, he announced. 9, 8, 7. Hyunwoo gripped his chair. He had made a dozen jumps during training, but this was different. This was real. 3, 2, 1, jump. The universe twisted. For a moment that felt like forever and no time at all. Hyunwoo existed everywhere and nowhere. Then reality snapped back into place with a jolt that made his teeth rattle. "Jump complete," Tae-min said, his voice shaky. "All systems green." "Scan for the distress signal source," Ji-woo ordered. "Got it," Hyunwoo said. His fingers flew over his controls. 4 ships, 2 light minutes ahead. 3 are attacking 1. The friendly is heavily damaged. Show me. The main view screen displayed the scene. Even from this distance, they could see weapons fire lighting up space. The 3 attacking ships were sleek and predatory. The 4th ship, larger but clearly a civilian vessel, was breaking apart under the assault. "They don't know we're here yet," the tactical officer reported. "Our jump signature is unfamiliar to their sensors." "Good." Jiwoo's voice turned cold. "Tae-min, get us in close. Weapons, prepare firing solution on the attacking ships. Hyun-woo, open a channel." "Channel open, Captain." Jiwoo stepped forward, her small frame somehow filling the entire bridge with authority. "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Jiwoo of the Earth ship, Taeguk. Cease your attack immediately and withdraw." For a moment, nothing happened. Then Hyun-woo's console exploded with incoming transmissions. The computer struggled to translate the alien languages, but the tone was clear. Confusion, disbelief, then anger. One of the attacking ships broke off and turned toward the Taeguk. Its weapons began to charge. "They're targeting us," Tactical reported. "Evasive maneuvers," Jiwoo said calmly. "Return fire. Disable only. I want them alive for questions." The Taeguk moved with surprising grace for a ship of its size. The pirate vessel fired, but its energy weapons splashed harmlessly against the human ship's shields. The Taeguk had been built to withstand the radiation of Earth's sun and the cosmic rays of deep space. These weapons barely registered. Then the Taeguk fired back. The railgun round crossed the distance in less than a second. It was a simple chunk of dense metal accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. No fancy energy systems, no complex technology, just mass and velocity. It punched through the pirate ship's shields like they were not even there. The round tore through the hull, and the ship went dark, tumbling through space with its engines destroyed but the crew compartment intact. "What?" The tactical officer stared at his display. "Did that actually work?" "Fire again," Jiwoo ordered. "Different target." The second pirate ship tried to run. It did not make it far. Another railgun round destroyed its engines, leaving it drifting. The third ship did not even try to fight. It jumped away, vanishing into faster-than-light space before the Taeguk could fire. "Hyun-woo, hail the damaged vessel," Jiwoo said. "Channel open, Captain." "Unknown ship, this is Captain Jiwoo. The hostile vessels have been disabled. Do you require assistance?" The response came in a voice filled with shock and fear. "This is Captain Haewon of the merchant ship Singing Wind." "Who? What are you? Your ship design is unknown. Your weapons are—" The voice paused. "Did you just use kinetic projectiles?" "We did," Jiwoo confirmed. "We're preparing to send over a boarding party to assist with repairs. Will you accept our help?" There was a long pause. When Haewon spoke again, her voice was different, careful. "Yes. Yes, we accept. But please, move slowly. My crew is frightened." Jiwoo looked at Hyun-woo and smiled. "Tell her we mean no harm. Tell her that humanity has just made first contact." Hyun-woo's hands shook as he sent the message. Through his view screen, he could see the damaged alien ship. Beyond it, stars glittered in the endless dark, and somewhere out there, an entire galaxy waited. A galaxy that had no idea humans existed. That was about to change. Commander Dong-wook checked his equipment one last time before stepping into the airlock. His 12 Marines stood ready behind him, their armored suits sealed and weapons secured. They looked calm, professional. Inside, Dong-wook knew they were just as nervous as he was. First contact with an alien species, history in the making. "Remember," he said over the squad channel, "these people just survived a pirate attack. They're scared. Move slowly. Keep your weapons pointed down. Smile if you can." "Sir, they can't see our faces through the helmets," one Marine pointed out. "Then smile anyway," Dong-wook replied. "It'll help you stay calm." The airlock cycled. The door opened onto the Singing Wind's cargo bay. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows. The air smelled wrong, too sweet, like flowers mixed with copper. Dong-wook took his first step onto an alien ship. The Velthara crew waited for them. They stood in a tight group near the far wall, and Dong-wook's first thought was how small they looked. The tallest barely reached his chest. They had pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Their hands had 6 fingers each. They wore simple jumpsuits marked with symbols he could not read. One of them stepped forward. She wore a captain's insignia. This had to be HFY. "Welcome aboard," she said. The translation device on Dong-wook's helmet turned her musical language into words he could understand. "I am Captain HFY. You saved our lives. We are grateful." Dong-wook removed his helmet, and the entire alien crew took a step back. Several made sounds of alarm. HFY went very still. "I am Commander Dong-wook," he said carefully. "We brought medical supplies and repair equipment. If you show us you're injured, we can help." HFY stared at him. Her large eyes moved over his face, and Dong-wook wondered what she saw. A human face. Brown skin, dark eyes. Nothing that should be frightening, but the fear in her expression was obvious. "Your species," she said slowly. "Where do you come from?" "Earth," Dong-wook replied. "We call it Earth. It's about 30 light years from here." One of the other Velthara gasped. Another pulled up a datapad and began typing frantically. HFY's face went even paler than before. "Earth," she repeated. "Sol 3, the quarantine world." Now it was Dong-wook's turn to be confused. "Quarantine? What do you mean?" Before HFY could answer, Dr. Subin pushed past Dong-wook. The xenobiologist had insisted on joining the boarding party, and Dong-wook had not been able to say no. Subin was young and enthusiastic, and she practically vibrated with excitement as she approached the aliens. "Hello," she said brightly. "I'm Dr. Subin. I'm so excited to meet you. Can I ask, are you comfortable in this gravity? Our ship operates at Earth standard, and I know that might be—" "Stop," HFY said. Her voice was sharp. "Do not come closer." Subin froze, her smile fading. "I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong?" "Your gravity," HFY said. "What level?" "1 Earth standard," Subin answered, confused. 9.8 meters per second squared. Is that a problem?" The Velthara with the datapad looked up. "Captain, that's 0.98 galactic standard. Their homeworld gravity is almost twice what we consider normal." HFY closed her eyes. "That's impossible. No sentient species evolves in that much gravity. The energy cost alone—" She opened her eyes and looked at Subin again. "How much do you weigh?" 55 kilograms, Subin said. "In 0.98 gravity," the Velthara with the datapad whispered. "By the void. She weighs almost twice what I do. Her bone density must be—" He stopped, his hands shaking. Dong-wook was starting to understand. "You've never met anyone from a high-gravity world before?" "There are no high-gravity worlds with sentient life," HFY said. "The evolutionary pressures are too extreme. The energy requirements make intelligence impossible. It's basic biology." "Well," Subin said, her smile returning, "I think we just proved that theory wrong." HFY's first officer, Nari, stepped forward with a medical scanner. "May I?" she asked Subin. "I need to confirm something." "Of course!" The scanner hummed as it passed over Subin's body. Nari read the results, and her face went through several expressions. Shock, disbelief, horror. "Her skeleton is incredibly dense," Nari said quietly. "Her muscles. She could tear a Velthara apart without even trying. Her heart operates at pressures that would kill any of us. And her blood—" She looked up at HFY. "Her blood carries oxygen using iron compounds. She breathes an atmosphere that's 21% oxygen." "That's not unusual," Subin said, confused by their reaction. What do you breathe? 8% oxygen, 12% nitrogen, 80% argon, Nari answered. Anything more than 10% oxygen is toxic to us over time. Your atmosphere would kill us in hours. Dong-wook felt his world shifting. These aliens were not built like humans. They were fragile, adapted to a gentle universe, and humans were something else entirely. Your world, Haiwan said. Tell me about your world. Subin looked at Dong-wook, who nodded. Well, she began, Earth is beautiful. We have oceans that cover most of the surface, mountains that reach into the sky, forests full of life. The gravity is strong, yes, but we're adapted to it. The oxygen levels are high because our plants produce it. The temperature varies from... Temperature range, Haiwan interrupted. From about -90 to +60 Celsius in the extreme regions. Where humans live, usually -40 to +50. The Velthara crew was dead silent. Finally, Haiwan spoke, her voice barely a whisper. Your world sits in the inner orbit of a yellow dwarf star. High radiation, extreme temperatures, crushing gravity, toxic oxygen levels, and you said you have predators? Well, yes, Subin said. Though not as many as we used to. We hunted most of the large ones too. She stopped, seeing their expressions. That's normal, right? No, Haiwan said. No, that is not normal. Most species never encounter a natural predator. We evolved from plant-eaters on gentle worlds. But you... She looked at Dong-wook, at his marines, at Subin. You evolved from hunters on a death world. The Council surveyed your planet 300 years ago. They said nothing could possibly survive there long enough to develop intelligence. They said it was impossible. We didn't know anyone was watching, Dong-wook said quietly. We thought we were alone. You were supposed to be, Haiwan replied. The quarantine was meant to last until your species died out or your planet became less hostile. No one expected... She gestured at the humans. No one expected you to thrive. Dong-wook's helmet comm crackled. Commander, this is Captain Ji Woo. Status report. Captain, we have a situation, Dong-wook said. The aliens know about Earth. They've been watching us. There's something called a quarantine. I'm aware, Ji Woo replied. Dr. Subin, I need you back on the Taeguk immediately. We just received a transmission from something called the Galactic Council. They want to talk. Subin's eyes went wide. The Galactic Council? There's a government? An actual galactic government? Haiwan nodded slowly. And you just violated a 200-year-old quarantine to save my ship. When they find out... She paused. The galaxy is about to learn that the Deathworlders are not extinct, that they built ships, that they have weapons we cannot defend against, that they are here. Dong-wook looked at his marines. They looked back at him, understanding dawning in their eyes. They had come out here looking for peaceful first contact. Instead, they had stumbled into something much more complicated. Will they attack us? Dong-wook asked. I don't know, Haiwan admitted. But I know this. The galaxy has spent 2 centuries sleeping peacefully, believing the monsters from Sol 3 were safely locked away. Now the monsters are free, and they are kind enough to save strangers. That might be more terrifying than anything else. Subin smiled sadly. We're not monsters. We're just human. To us, Haiwan said softly, those might be the same thing. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 43 species shouted over each other, their voices mixing into an incomprehensible roar. At the center of it all, a holographic image rotated slowly. A human face. Bora stood at the security podium, her scaled hands gripping the edge as she waited for silence. She was Thernian, a species known for patience and calm. But even her patience had limits. Order! She shouted, her voice cutting through the noise. I will have order in this chamber. The representatives slowly quieted, though angry murmurs continued. Bo-Ra activated the display, and more images appeared. Human ships, human weapons, data from Heywan's testimony. 3 days ago, Bo-Ra began, the Sol 3 quarantine was breached. A human vessel responded to a distress call from a Velthara merchant ship. They engaged Krellian pirates using kinetic weapons and won decisively. A Krellian representative stood, his red skin flushed darker with anger. They destroyed 2 of our ships. They were pirate ships attacking an innocent merchant, Bo-Ra replied coldly. The humans acted in defense of a council citizen. However, that is not the issue we face today. She paused. The issue is that the humans should not exist. The chamber erupted again. Bo-Ra let it continue for a moment before calling for silence. The survey of Sol 3 was completed 300 standard years ago, she continued. The planet was classified as a Class 12 death world, unsuitable for colonization, impossible for sentient evolution. Yet here we are. She gestured to the images. They built starships. They developed FTL technology independently. They have weapons that bypass our shield systems, and according to Captain Heywan's testimony, they did all of this without any knowledge that we existed. In the audience chamber, Jae-Won sat very still. The human diplomat had arrived at the station only hours ago, escorted by Captain Ji-Woo. They had been given no time to prepare, no briefing on council politics. Just a summons to appear and answer questions. Jae-Won looked down at his hands. They were shaking slightly. He forced them still. We should reinstate the quarantine immediately, one representative declared. Surround their system with military forces. Contain them before they spread. They have already spread, another countered. They crossed 3 light years in 20 minutes. How do we contain a species with FTL capabilities? We negotiate, a third voice said. They saved a council citizen. That shows honor. Or strategy, someone else argued. They could be learning our weaknesses. Bo-Ra raised her hand for silence again. The human delegation is here. I believe we should hear from them directly. She turned toward the entrance. Ambassador Jae-Won of Earth, please approach. Jae-Won stood. His legs felt weak, but he walked steadily to the speaking platform. Behind him, Ji-Woo remained seated, her face calm and unreadable. They had agreed. Jae-Won would speak first. The platform raised him above the chamber floor. Hundreds of alien eyes fixed on him. Jae-Won had given speeches before, but never like this. Never with the fate of his entire species hanging on his words. Honored council members, he began, his voice steady. I am Jae-Won, representing the United Earth government. We come in peace. A snort of disbelief came from somewhere in the crowd. Jae-Won continued. I understand your fear. I have read the survey report of our world. I know what you saw 300 years ago. A hostile planet, extreme conditions, dangerous life. You concluded that nothing could survive there long enough to achieve sentience. He paused. You were wrong. We can see that, Bo-Ra said dryly. But you were not wrong about the planet being dangerous, Jae-Won said. Earth is hostile. The gravity is crushing by your standards. The oxygen is toxic to most of you. The temperature swings are extreme. And yes, we have predators. We have diseases. We have natural disasters that kill thousands. He looked around the chamber. But we survived. We adapted. We became strong because we had to. Too strong, a voice called out. You are weapons made flesh. Jae-Won shook his head. We are survivors. There is a difference. Yes, our bodies are dense and strong. Yes, we can withstand conditions that would kill most of you. But that does not make us monsters. When we found Captain Heywan's ship under attack, we did not stop to calculate the strategic advantage. We did not wonder if saving her would benefit us. We simply helped because it was the right thing to do. A single act of mercy does not erase the threat you pose, Bo-Ra said. Her voice was not unkind, just realistic. Your weapons tear through our shields. Your ships are built to withstand forces that would destroy our vessels. Your soldiers could overpower our security forces without effort. How do we trust you? The same way we are trusting you right now, Jae-won replied. We came here unarmed, just Captain Ji-woo and myself. We entered this station knowing we could be detained or killed. We did it because we believe in diplomacy, in communication, in finding common ground. On Earth, Admiral Woo Jin watched the Council proceedings through a live transmission. His fleet was on standby, ready to respond if the humans at the station were threatened, but he hoped it would not come to that. Status report, he ordered. Defense grid is at full readiness, his tactical officer replied. All orbital platforms are active. The fleet is in position. If they attack the Sol system, we can hold them. And if they attack the station? Woo Jin asked quietly. The tactical officer was silent. They both knew the answer. Ji-woo and Jae-won would die, and Earth would go to war with the entire galaxy. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Woo Jin said. Back in the council chamber, another representative stood. This one was small and covered in soft fur. I have reviewed the technical data from the engagement. The human weapons are crude, simple kinetic projectiles, yet they were devastatingly effective. How is this possible? Captain Ji-woo rose and walked to stand beside Jae-won. May I answer that? Bo-Ra nodded. Our weapons are crude by design, Ji-woo explained. We developed them to function in the harsh conditions of our world. Energy weapons are elegant, but they can be disrupted by magnetic fields, atmospheric interference, or radiation. Kinetic weapons are simple. They work anywhere. They require no exotic materials or complex systems. Just mass and velocity. Primitive, someone muttered. Effective, Ji-woo corrected. Our ships are the same. They have redundant systems, multiple backup engines, heavy armor. We designed them this way because Earth taught us that elegant systems fail. Only robust systems survive. Bo-Ra studied the human captain. You speak of survival often, as if it is the highest virtue. For us, it is, Ji-woo said simply. We have been fighting to survive since we first walked upright, fighting the weather, fighting predators, fighting disease, fighting each other. It shaped everything we are. Including your violence, Bo-Ra said. Including our determination, Ji-woo replied. Yes, we know how to fight, but we also know how to cooperate, how to build, how to dream of something better than mere survival. We came to space looking for answers to one question. Are we alone? Now we know we are not, and that fills us with hope, not aggression. A new voice spoke from the back of the chamber. It was Hai-Wan, standing in the observer section. Permission to speak, Council Director? Bo-Ra looked surprised but nodded. Granted, Captain Hai-Wan. Hai-Wan walked forward. I have spent the last 3 days with the humans aboard their ship and this station. I have seen their strength, but I have also seen their kindness. They repaired my ship, though they gained nothing from it. They treated my wounded, though we are strangers. They shared their food, their knowledge, their stories. She turned to face the council. These Deathworlders are not what we feared. They are what we need. That is a bold statement, Bo-Ra said. It is the truth, Hai-Wan replied. The galaxy has grown soft. We have had peace for so long that we have forgotten how to face real threats. The humans remember. They live every day knowing that survival is not guaranteed. That makes them dangerous, yes, but it also makes them valuable allies. The chamber fell silent. Jae-won felt his heart pounding in his chest. This moment would determine everything. Finally, Bo-Ra spoke. The Council will deliberate. Ambassador Jae-won, Captain Ji-woo, You will return to your quarters while we discuss this matter. We will summon you when we have reached a decision." As they left the chamber, Jiwoo leaned close to Jae-won. "That went better than I expected." "Or worse," Jae-won replied. "We still don't know if they will welcome us or destroy us." Behind them, the council chamber doors closed. Inside, the argument began anew. Outside, two humans waited to learn the fate of their species. The Incheon drifted in the outer reaches of the Sol system, her weapons powered down but ready. Captain Kite stood on the bridge, watching the long-range sensors with growing unease. He had been on patrol for 6 hours, and his instincts were screaming that something was wrong. "Contact!" his sensor officer called out. "Multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the system edge. Distance, 400,000 kilometers." Kaite's jaw tightened. "How many?" 23 ships, frigate-sized. Unknown configuration. They're forming a defensive sphere." "Battle stations," Kaite ordered quietly. "Send a priority alert to Fleet Command. Do not power weapons yet." On Earth, Admiral Wu Jin received the alert and immediately activated the defense network. Within minutes, 12 more human ships were burning toward the outer system. The entire orbital defense grid came online, missile platforms armed, railgun satellites calculated firing solutions, Earth prepared for war. "Open a channel to the unknown fleet," Wu Jin ordered. "Let's find out what they want before we start shooting." In space near Jupiter, the alien fleet commander studied the strange system before him. The third planet bristled with weapons, satellites in aggressive orbits, ships moving with coordinated precision. This was not the primitive civilization he had been told to expect. "Send the standard observation declaration," he ordered. "Inform them we are here to assess compliance with the quarantine." The message translated poorly. What the aliens meant as a formal notification came across to the human receivers as a demand. What they intended as a peaceful observation mission sounded like a threat. On the Incheon, Kite read the translation and felt ice in his stomach. "They're demanding we stand down and allow them to assess our system. They claim authority under something called the Quarantine Protocols." "Do we recognize their authority?" his first officer asked. "I don't even know who they are," Kite replied. He opened a channel. "Unknown fleet, this is Captain Kite of the Earth defense ship Incheon. You have entered the Sol system without permission. State your intentions clearly." The alien commander was frustrated. These humans were not following proper protocols. They should have acknowledged council authority immediately. He decided to demonstrate the fleet's capability, hoping to encourage cooperation. "Weapons officer, fire a ranging shot. Far enough from their ships to be non-threatening, but close enough to show our weapon range." On the Incheon, Tactical Officer Min-ah watched her display as the alien fleet powered weapons. "Captain, they're charging weapons!" "Shields up," Kite barked, "but hold fire. Do not shoot unless—" The alien weapon discharged. It was a plasma lance, meant to dissipate harmlessly in space well away from any human ship. A demonstration of power. A warning. But human sensors read it differently. The plasma bolt registered as incoming fire. Min-ah saw a weapon discharge on a vector that would pass within 50 kilometers of the Incheon. In Earth terms, that was point-blank range. "Incoming fire!" Min-ah shouted. "Permission to engage point defense." Kite had a fraction of a second to decide. The aliens had fired first. His ship was in danger. The book was clear on this. "Engage point defense," he ordered. "Intercept that shot." The Incheon's railgun turret swiveled and fired. 3 rounds crossed space at tremendous velocity, designed to intercept and destroy incoming missiles. They hit the plasma bolt and detonated it harmlessly. But they did not stop there. Railgun rounds do not simply vanish after hitting their target. The 3 rounds continued on their trajectory, and 2 of them struck alien ships. The impacts were devastating. The alien vessels had shields designed to deflect energy weapons and small debris. They were not built to withstand solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. Two alien scout ships simply ceased to exist. One moment they were there, the next they were expanding clouds of debris. "Oh no," Kite whispered. "No, no, no, cease fire! All ships, cease fire!" But it was too late. The alien fleet commander stared at his tactical display in horror. Two ships destroyed, crews dead, and the human vessel had barely even tried. "All ships defensive formation," he ordered. "Charge weapons, but do not fire. Send an emergency transmission to Council Station. We are under attack." On Earth, Wu Jin received the tactical data and went pale. "Get me a channel to that alien fleet, now!" "Channel open, Admiral." "Unknown fleet. This is Admiral Wu Jin of Earth Defense Command. Cease all hostile actions immediately. The shots you observed were defensive in nature. We did not intend to destroy your vessels. Please respond." The alien commander did not believe him. Could not believe him. How could defensive fire be so deadly? How could an accident kill two ships? "Human fleet, you have committed an act of war against the Galactic Council. Power down your weapons immediately, or we will be forced to respond." Wu Jin closed his eyes. This was spiraling out of control. "All ships, maintain defensive posture. Do not fire unless fired upon. Someone get me Ambassador Jae-won at the Council Station." At the Council Station, Jae-won was pulled from sleep by an urgent communication. When he heard what had happened, his blood ran cold. "I need to speak to the Council immediately," he told the guards. "People are about to die because of a misunderstanding." "The Council is already in emergency session," a guard replied. "You are summoned." The Council chamber was pandemonium. Representatives screamed accusations. Some demanded immediate military action against Earth. Others called for restraint. Bo-Ra stood at the center, her face grim. "Ambassador Jae-won," she said when he entered, "your forces have destroyed two council ships. Explain." "It was an accident," Jae-won said urgently. "Your fleet fired what they thought was a warning shot. Our ships interpreted it as an attack and engaged point defense. The rounds that destroyed your ships were meant to intercept the plasma bolt, not to attack your vessels." "Two ships destroyed by accident?" someone shouted. "Impossible." Jae-won turned to address the entire chamber. "Our weapons are kinetic. They do not stop when they hit their target. They keep going. Your ships were not designed to withstand this type of weapon. We did not know that. This is a tragic accident born of different technologies and different doctrines." "Or a convenient excuse," Bo-Ra said quietly. "Director, please," Jae-won begged. "Look at the tactical data. If we wanted to attack, we would have fired more than 3 rounds. We would have targeted your command ship, not scouts. This was defensive fire that had unintended consequences." Young diplomat Yuna stood from her seat. She was junior, barely allowed in the chamber, but she had been reviewing the data. "Director Bo-Ra, I believe Ambassador Jae-won is correct. The human vessel only fired after the ranging shot was discharged. The targeting was consistent with point defense, not offensive action." "That does not change the fact that our people are dead," Bo-Ra replied. "No," Jae-won agreed. "And we are deeply sorry for that. But escalating this into war will only kill more. Please, give us a chance to prove this was a mistake." In space, Kite watched as more alien ships arrived. The fleet was growing. On his tactical display, he could see Earth's defense fleet moving into position as well, dozens of ships facing each other across the void. One mistake, one nervous trigger finger, and millions would die. "Captain," Mina said quietly, "I'm sorry. I thought they were firing at us." "You followed protocol," Kite replied. "This is not your fault." He paused. "It's not anyone's fault. It's just terrible luck." A new transmission came through. It was Admiral Wu Jin. All ships hold position. The Council is deliberating. We are trying to resolve this peacefully. Do not fire under any circumstances unless you are directly fired upon with clear hostile intent. That is a direct order. Kite acknowledged, and then opened a channel to the alien fleet. Unknown vessels, this is Captain Kite. I deeply regret the loss of your ships and crew. It was not our intention to harm anyone. We are standing down our weapons and request that you do the same so we can discuss this situation calmly. For a long moment there was no response. Then the alien commander's voice came through, heavy with grief and anger, but controlled. This is Fleet Commander Veltan. We are holding position. But know this, human. If this was not an accident, if you are playing us for fools, there will be consequences. Understood, Kite replied. I give you my word as a ship captain. We meant no harm. The two fleets hung in space, weapons ready, neither side willing to make the first move. On the Council station, Jae-won argued for peace. On Earth, Woo-jin prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. And in the space between, the bodies of alien crew members drifted among the debris. Silent witnesses to how easily peace could shatter and how desperately everyone was trying to hold it together. 3 weeks after the incident, Captain Ji-woo stood in the landing bay of the Council station and watched as the first alien delegation prepared to board the shuttle to Earth. The investigation had been thorough. The tactical data had been reviewed by experts from a dozen species. The conclusion was unanimous. It had been a tragic accident. The Council had voted to accept Earth's explanation. More than that, they had voted to begin formal first contact. Now came the hard part, building understanding between species who had evolved in completely different worlds. Are you ready? Ji-woo asked the delegation. Bo-ra stepped forward, her scaled face unreadable. As ready as we can be, though I confess, I am nervous about visiting a death world. Earth is only a death world to you, Ji-woo said gently. To us, it's home. The shuttle ride to Earth was quiet. Bo-ra sat with representatives from 6 other species, all of them staring out the windows as the blue and white planet grew larger. They had reviewed every piece of data about Earth. They knew it was dangerous, but seeing it was different. Those are oceans, one delegate whispered. Water covering 70% of the surface. How is that possible? And those white swirls are weather systems, another added. Massive hurricanes. We tracked one that was larger than my entire homeworld's largest storm. As the shuttle descended, they saw more. Mountain ranges that stretched for thousands of kilometers. Deserts, forests, cities glowing with lights, and everywhere, signs of human adaptation to their hostile world. Chief Engineer Tae-min waited for them at the landing site. He had volunteered to give the first tour of human facilities. As the aliens stepped off the shuttle, he noticed them moving carefully, as if the ground might break beneath them. Welcome to Earth, he said warmly. I know the gravity is heavy. We can adjust the indoor facilities to something more comfortable for you. No, Bo-ra said. We want to experience your world as you do, to understand. Tae-min nodded and led them into the facility. The first stop was the engineering bay. He showed them a standard human spacecraft engine, redundant systems, heavy shielding, components built to withstand extreme stress. This is inefficient, one of the alien engineers said, studying the design. You have 3 backup systems for the backup systems. The weight alone, on Earth, things break, Tae-min explained. Weather, radiation, simple wear and tear. We learned early that elegant systems fail when stressed, so we build robust systems. Heavy, yes, but they work when you need them. He pulled up a hologram of Earth's solar system. Our sun is young and active. High radiation output. Frequent solar storms. A delicate ship would be fried. So we build ships that can take the punishment. The delegation was silent, processing this. Finally, one spoke. You design everything expecting it to fail? We design everything expecting to survive the failure, Tae-min corrected. There's a difference. The next stop was the medical facility, where Dr. Subin waited with barely contained excitement. She had prepared a presentation on human biology and was thrilled to finally share it. Human bodies are incredibly resilient, she explained, showing scans and diagrams. Our bones are dense to support our weight in heavy gravity. Our muscles are powerful because we evolved to run and climb and fight. Our immune systems are aggressive because Earth has billions of microorganisms, many of them deadly. How do you survive childhood? One delegate asked. With so many threats? Many of us don't, Subin said quietly. Even with modern medicine, Earth is dangerous, but those who survive are strong, and we pass that strength to our children. She showed them medical data from human history. Plagues that killed millions, famines, natural disasters. The aliens looked horrified. And yet you persevered, Bo-Ra said. We had no choice, Subin replied. Adapt or die. That's the law of Earth. That evening, there was a formal dinner. The human chefs had prepared food adjusted for alien digestive systems, but they also displayed traditional human cuisine. The aliens stared at dishes flavored with peppers, spices, and herbs that would be toxic to most of them. You eat this? One delegate asked, pointing at a plate of spicy food. This is mild by our standards, Jiwoo said with a smile. We evolved eating plants that developed chemical defenses. Over time, we came to enjoy the taste. Your world tried to poison you, and you learned to like it, Bo-Ra said. She almost smiled. That explains much about humans. Meanwhile, on several council worlds, human delegations were having their own revelations. Ambassador Jae-won stood in a park on the Velthara homeworld, staring in wonder at trees that grew in perfect geometric patterns. The sky was a gentle purple. The temperature never varied more than a few degrees. There were no predators, no storms, no dangers. This is paradise, he whispered. Hae-won stood beside him. This is normal, she corrected. For most species, this is what evolution looks like. Gentle pressures, slow adaptation, cooperation over competition. We missed out on so much, Jae-won said sadly. While we were fighting to survive, you were building civilizations of peace. And while we were living in peace, you were learning to overcome impossible challenges, Hae-won replied. Both paths have value. Over the following weeks, understanding grew. Human engineers showed the Council how to build more robust systems. Council scientists taught humans medical techniques that seemed like miracles. Human soldiers trained with Council security forces, carefully demonstrating tactics while learning about non-violent conflict resolution. Commander Dong-wook ran a simple training exercise with a mixed unit. The human Marines jogged 5 kilometers in full gear. The alien troops had to be carried back on stretchers, exhausted but laughing at the absurdity of what humans considered a light workout. But the aliens taught too. They showed humans art that had been perfected over millennia, philosophy developed in societies that never knew war, music that made hardened soldiers weep. 6 months after first contact, the Soul Accords were signed. Earth officially joined the Galactic Council. The signing ceremony took place on the Council station, with representatives from every species present. Jae-won stood at the podium, holding the ceremonial stylus. Beside him stood Bo-Ra, representing the Council. They had become unlikely friends through the process of negotiation. Today marks a new beginning, Jae-won said. Humanity joins the galactic community not as conquerors or threats, but as partners. We bring our strength, forged in the fires of a harsh world. But we also bring our hope, our curiosity, and our desire to learn from those who walked different paths. Bo-Ra took the stylus and added her mark to the accord. and the Council welcomes Earth, acknowledging that diversity makes us stronger. The Deathworlders are no longer isolated. They are family. The chamber erupted in applause, clicks, whistles, chirps, and cheers from dozens of species. On the Taeguk, Hyunwoo sat at his communications station, monitoring the ceremony. He thought back to that day 6 months ago when he had picked up a distress signal. One transmission, one decision to help, it had changed everything. His console chimed with an incoming message. It was a standard navigation update, but Hyunwoo read it anyway. The message listed dozens of new trade routes opening between Earth and Council worlds, cultural exchange programs, joint research initiatives, humans and aliens working together. He smiled and began composing a new transmission, a message to be broadcast across all of human space and beyond. This is Earth calling. We are no longer alone. We have found friends among the stars, and together, we will build a future brighter than any we could have imagined. As he sent the message, Hyunwoo looked out the viewport at the stars. They seemed closer now, more welcoming. Somewhere out there, on dozens of worlds, aliens and humans were learning to live together, learning that differences did not have to divide them. The Deathworlders had emerged from their isolation, and the galaxy, after its initial fear, was starting to understand. Humans were not monsters. They were not weapons. They were simply survivors who had learned to be strong, now choosing to be kind. And that, perhaps, was the most human thing of all. Far below, on Earth, children played in parks while their parents watched the news broadcasts. On Council worlds, alien children asked their parents about the strange humans from the Death World. In space, ships bearing both human and alien crews charted new routes together. The story of humanity's emergence was just beginning, but it was already clear that the galaxy had changed. The Deathworlders were here, and they were ready to stand with their new family among the stars, bringing both their strength and their hope to a universe that desperately needed both.